to another episode of the Grey Nomad Knits, and this is part 3 in my 10 kilograms in 10 weeks challenge to raise money for Andrew Doig, which I'll talk about a little bit later. My name is Jill and I'm coming to you from Perth in Western Australia, and sadly I think autumn has done a bunk and summer has hit again. Today is going to be 35 degrees. I think that's about 97 or 98 degrees Fahrenheit. So I've already put our air conditioner on to try and keep it a bit cool. We have what's called an evaporative air conditioner here. It's more like an air cooler, where we have a big unit up on our roof and it's like a massive big fan, and when you turn it on, the air gets blown via the fan through the whole house. But the fan is surrounded by these pads of, I'm not sure what they're made of, but they get soaked in water, so that cools the air as it gets blown through. 98% of the time it works really well and it's fabulous, but if it's a very humid day it's next to useless. But thankfully today it's a very dry heat, so I've got some lovely cool air blowing down on me now. And I do have to have the door shut though, because the washing machine's on, and I need to have the window open, because one thing with this type of system is that you have to have airflow through the house. So because air's being blown in at quite a high rate, you have to have a door or a window open to let the air then escape. But still, it's all good at the moment, and hopefully I won't get too hot. Okay, so a little bit about my weight loss challenge. For those of you who don't know or are new on here, welcome. I'm attempting to lose 10 kilos in 10 weeks to raise money for Andrew Doig. Andrew and Andrea are from the Fruity Knitting podcast, and they're an Australian couple who live in Germany. And last year, Andrew was diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumour. They're currently having treatment at, I think it's a private clinic in Germany, but it's very, very expensive. So I'm trying to raise a little bit of awareness and a little bit of money for them to try and help take a bit of that financial pressure off. Now, I probably won't be able to lose 10 kilos in 10 weeks because, let's face it, it's Easter this coming weekend. But I'm going to try my hardest. I'm pretty well on track so far, but you'll have to watch till the end of the video to see my progress. So I'm just going to put in a few pictures here of Andrew and Andrea, and you'll see a link down at the bottom of the screen during most of this podcast. I can't quite figure out how to make it stay on the whole time, but I'll also have the link posted in the show notes at the bottom of this video. So enjoy some of the beautiful photos you see of Andrew and Andrea, and especially some of the lovely knitwear that you'll see them producing, and I'll see you shortly. Okay, on to a little bit of knitting. Of course, in 1 week, a girl can only knit so much. We've had quite a busy week with quite a few nights out. So, which means time away from my knitting, because I usually only knit in the evenings. I have done some work on my scarf, and this is the Victorian Raffia scarf by, it's a joint project by Alasdair Post Quinn. And I can't quite remember the other man's name, but I will put it in the link to it in the show notes. Now this is double knitting. Now it's slowly growing. I'll just show you how much I've done. So I've done about another 20 or so rows since you last saw it. I'm using the yarn is a merino cashmere blend. I'll just double check that. It's from Hobie in Denmark. It's called Dolce Cashmere, 65% virgin wool, 25% polyamide, 10% cashmere. That's the label. And I'm using two different colours. They're both in a gradient. So this is the darker one, which is it almost goes from a very pale grey, which you can sort of see down at the bottom here how it's a lot paler, up to this very dark grey where I'm up to now, and then it's going to slowly go back towards the pale. So you can see I'm in the really dark colour now. If I turn it round, normally in stranded knitting you have the pattern on one side and the floats on the other. But this time when I turn it around, you have the pattern on both sides in the reverse. So if I just put that down there, if I flip that over, you can see that it's like a negative image on one side. It takes a bit of getting your mind around it when you start, but after you get the hang of it, it becomes quite simple. It's just knits and purls using different colours, but you've just got to be careful of making sure you use the right colour on the right stitch depending on which side is facing you. But it's pretty clearly explained in the chart, and I haven't had much. I've had a few mistakes where I've had to take back a couple of rows, but on the whole now I'm getting a lot faster at it and making a lot less mistakes. This is such a pretty pattern. I love it. So I'm probably, maybe about a third of the way through. I like scarves to be a fairly good length, and I think my eldest daughter's going to claim this one, so I will check with her to see how long she would like it. Once it's all washed and blocked and pressed out, you won't get so much of that bunching up that's happening at the moment. So it'll be quite nice, and it will have this lovely wavy edge down the side. So I'm really enjoying that. In double knitting you kind of knit in pairs of stitches. So for each pair of stitches, the first stitch you knit, and that's the side that's facing you, and the second stitch in the pair you purl, and that's the side that's away from you. And that's how you end up with a stocking stitch effect on both sides. Yeah, it's once you get your head around it, it's not hard to understand. I think I probably picked one of the more difficult patterns, but yeah, that's me. I like a challenge, but it's so worth it. And once you start doing something, it becomes second nature, and what you thought was difficult at the start, all of a sudden it's not so difficult. So yeah, if you want to try something out of your comfort zone, give it a go. And if you are trying anything a bit more difficult at the moment, pop it in the comments below. I'd love to see and hear about what you're doing. So that's what I've been doing there. I showed you last week the 11th square that I'd finished in my Marie Wallen blanket. This is the Fair Old Club number 1, which you can't purchase any longer. I've already made one of these, and I'm now making a second one as a gift for a very special couple in our lives. So I'm on the last square now. It's a little bit hard to see because it's all bunched up. I'm just using straight needles to do this, but if you look at that, you can see how beautifully that, and this is the difference between this and double knitting. This is just simple colour work, stranded knitting, so that's one side and that is the other side. So you can see the difference between the two techniques. How nice is this coming up? You've got to give it to Marie Wallen. She is an expert in design, in her patterns and her colours. It's just beautiful. So when this square is finished, which hopefully won't take too long to do, I've then got to finish joining all the squares together and then start the arduous task of picking up the stitches for the border. But that's okay, I'm on the homeward stretch now. And when I finish this blanket, I'll be then transferring my time onto this one, the Anne and Carlos COVID-19 blanket. But I am enjoying this. This pattern, this particular square is a lot easier in some respects than the other squares because you have these small pattern repeats all across the row, which means you sort of look at the chart and it might be 3 stitches in one colour, 2 in the other, 3 in one, 2 in the other, all the way across. So you really only have to look at the chart at the beginning of the rows. Not like in the previous square where I had to religiously follow with a guider all the way across to make sure I didn't go wrong. So yeah, it shouldn't take too long. This one will be a bit quicker than the last one. We're going down to Denmark for Easter. For those of you who are watching that don't live in Western Australia, we do have our own Denmark here down on the south coast. We have some wonderful friends down there who have asked us to come and join them for Easter. So that's what we're going to do. And it's a lot cooler down there. So I'm hoping to get this square finished. And then if I do, I'll take my scarf with me as well, so I can do some more on that. One other thing I just wanted to show you is this beautiful wool that I bought. There's a company in Tasmania called White Gum Farm, and they produce the most beautiful wool. It's super fine merino, and they have lovely colours. And last time we went to Hobart, I went to the Tasmanian Wool Centre, which is in a lovely little town called Ross. Any knitters out there, if you're ever in Tasmania, make sure you go to this lovely store in this beautiful, very historic town. Beautiful old sandstone buildings. It's just lovely. Anyway, so I was in this wool store, and they have got a whole cabinet full of white gum wool. So I picked out this beautiful colour. It's real plum. And this is a fingering weight. We call it 4-ply here in Australia, but it's a fingering weight. Not sure what I'm going to make it yet. I have 5 balls of it, and there's 100 grams in each ball. So I'm going to think very carefully about what I'm going to make. You can actually buy this now in Perth at Calico and Ivy. So I may possibly do my first ever colour work yoke sweater. And I could always take a trip down to Calico and Ivy to pick another colour to go with it. But yes, the colour of this is called Flax Lily, and it is really soft. It's really beautiful. I haven't actually. Yes, I have used some of their wool before in another jumper I made, and it turned out really, really nice, and it was a delight to knit with. So I just thought I'd like to show you that, just in case anyone's planning a trip to Tasmania. I love to give small businesses a little plug. So that's my beautiful Tasmanian wool. Okay, a little bit about the weight loss challenge. I went for my first walk the other day. Nearly killed me, all uphill. We have a little shopping centre, a very small neighbourhood shopping centre just up the road. There's a supermarket there, a pharmacy, doctor's surgery, fish and chip shop. What else is there? News agency, you know, those sort of normal type things. And yes, there's a small IGA supermarket. And I always get in the car and drive up there because it's uphill. And it only takes about 15 minutes to walk up there. Anyone else that'd probably take 10, but I'm a slow walker, especially when it's uphill. Did I mention it's uphill? The good thing about it being uphill is that it's downhill on the way home, so it's a lot faster coming home. So I sort of made a decision the other day that if I need to go and get something at the shop in the future, I'm not going to take the car, I'm going to walk. I do have to go to the shop today, but it's 35 degrees out there today and stinking hot, so I am going to take the car today because I don't want to get heat stroke. So yeah, anything 35 and over, I make an exception. I think that's allowed. So that was my first walk. Today and tomorrow I'm pretty busy getting organised to go away for Easter, and I've got my sister and my daughter coming for dinner tonight, so that will probably be it for walking until we get to Denmark. My beautiful friend Grace, who lives near Denmark, we're going to meet up on Thursday and go for a walk. And then staying at our friend's house in Denmark, I'm going to try and do a walk every day. They've got some beautiful beach line down there, so I might even be able to get the hubby out to get a few walks along the beach. So I will try and remember to take my camera and take some photos so that you can share in this beautiful part of the world with me. This was a difficult week to stick to a diet plan, or a healthy eating plan, I should say. Yeah, I'm not really doing a diet as such. I'm just trying to do healthy eating because this is something I now have to do for the rest of my life, not just for this 10 weeks. So I'm calling it my healthy eating plan. We were out for Thai food one night, and on Friday night we went with some friends to an Italian feast. it was like a pair the wine with the course sort of dinner. Thankfully, I don't drink, so I was able to just enjoy some nice bottled water. But we started off, the first course was big plates of antipasto with all the cold meats, the cheeses, the breads, the olive oil dip. And then we had a minestrone soup with like a toasted piece of like French bread with crumbly cheese topping on it. That was delicious. I tried not to eat all of it because I knew what else was coming. That was followed by a mushroom risotto, which was lovely, but thankfully it was only a small serving. And then that was followed by a veal, like a steak or something, wrapped in bacon and served with peas, which I don't like. So I scraped those off to the side. And like a potato sort of bake type thing. And I did eat it all and I really enjoyed it. And dessert was tiramisu. And I don't drink coffee, I only drink tea. But I love the flavour of coffee in desserts. So thankfully the dessert wasn't a terribly big one, but I did eat it and I enjoyed it. I was so full afterwards I could hardly move. So I was very careful over the weekend to stick to an extremely healthy diet. In fact, we had McDonald's last night, and here, I don't know about everywhere else in the world, but here in Perth you can get a nice grilled chicken salad. So hubby had his bacon burger and chips, and I had a grilled chicken salad. So I think I deserve a halo for that. Yeah, so if you're interested in seeing my results, stay tuned till the end and I'll post them up there. As I said, we're going away for Easter, so there won't be a video next week, so it'll be 2 weeks before I post again. And do forgive me if I don't lose weight over Easter. It's such a difficult time to stick to a healthy eating plan, but I will do the best I can. I will do lots of walking, and please consider donating to the PayPal fund for Andrew and Andrea if you haven't already, and to those who have, my heartfelt thank you, and I know that Andrew and Andrea appreciate every dollar they get. And have a happy Easter, and wherever you are in the world, stay safe and stay healthy. Bye for now.